But what's going to happen about immigration, Nigel? That's a much trickier question. It's a huge issue there, as it is here, with as many as 13,000 people a day coming across America's southern border.
What is happening on the southern border and what is happening in the English Channel with illegal immigration is something that is a deep insult, not just to long-established families, but here's the interesting point, to those that have legally come to our countries and gone through the process over the course of the last couple of decades. Because, you know, they've done things properly, they paid the price to do it, and here are people just walking in and being allowed to stay. The numbers on America's southern border, I mean, they're just mind-blowing. They're astonishing. And whilst, of course, within that number, there will be those who are perfectly decent people who want a better standard of life and see America as the beacon they want to come to, just as they see the UK, by the way, in Europe, as the beacon that they want to come to. Also, among that, are people about whom the American government has no idea at all. It's an open door for criminality. It's an open door for gangs. It's an open door, frankly, for the already rapidly declining levels of law and order in America's big cities to simply get worse. Now, we've been filling hotels up all over the country, much to the anger of everybody. And once I heard that New York hotels were now filling up, I thought, there might just be a change of sentiment. Because you see, it's all very easy for the great and the good to say, I can't see what the problem is. You wait till it's on their doorstep. They start taking a very different attitude. And it sounds like Eric Adams might just be waking up to what the implications of this are. I would have thought that in the minds of fair-minded Americans, these millions coming into the country illegally should be a very major election issue in November 2024. And I would point everybody to what the solution might be. You know, this is not just the council of despair that we're talking about here. Australia faced the same problem back in the earlier parts, you know, sort of early 2000s, suddenly boats filled with hundreds of people were coming from Indonesia. They tried all sorts of solutions. They tried offshore processing, etc. In the end, a very brave and principled conservative leader called Tony Abbott said, right, I'm going to deal with this. He put adverts out all over Indonesia saying no one that comes to Australia illegally through the traffickers via this route will ever be allowed to stay, ever be allowed to stay. And when some people thought he wasn't serious, do you know what he did? He towed the boats back to Indonesia. He used the Australian Navy to tow the boats back to Indonesia. And of course, the UN went mad, the EU went mad, everybody condemned Australia. It was now a pariah state, and how dare they? And the churches condemned him. But you know what happened? The boats stopped coming. They stopped coming. Literally, they completely and utterly stopped coming. So the only way you can deal with illegal immigration is to make it perfectly clear that nobody that comes via this route will ever be able to stay. And quite why in America you have this lunacy of sanctuary cities, I will simply never, ever know.